Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Night Talks Podcast. And today we're doing the presser review show for the pre-match press conference ahead of the Manchester United versus West Ham game. The last game of the Premier League week fixture, match week 14, 13, whatever the case is, 14. So it will be super interesting to see this game, considering how results have gone. Liverpool have just drawn to Sunderland 1-1 at Anfield. Chelsea have just lost to 3-1 to Leeds at Leeds' home. Fixtures are kind of aligning. I mean, I think Arsenal were winning 2-0 last time I checked. So Manchester United is back in the winning column. I mean, from the last game against Crystal Palace, breathing a collective sigh of relief after breaking the Selhurst Park curse. Now, the high-stakes world of football never stops, and manager Rúben Amorim, in his latest press conference, pivoted immediately from tactical talk to heavy psychological burden on his players. He also talked about defining the image of the weekend, and it wasn't just a goal, but it was a sight of a 20-year-old defender, Leny Yoro, looking distraught after conceding a penalty, only to be immediately comforted by veteran Mason Mount. Amorim's presser revealed a deep focus on squad protection and mental fortitude, topics that are now just as critical as formations and tactics. So we're going to break down the full conversation from how the manager shields himself from the normal abuse that plagues the modern game, to the highly anticipated return of Matheus Cunha and the roadmap of being tough and bringing through young talents like Shea Lacey. Now, this is Amorim's blueprint for survival and the growth in a pressure cooker environment like Manchester United. First, we're going to be talking about the invisible enemy, and that's social media abuse, which was the first array of questions that was asked to Amorim. The first major question, posed to Amorim addressed a troubling investigation by the BBC regarding the extreme social media abuse directed at managers, including himself, after losses. His answer was stark, honest, and revealed a remarkable, degree of self-protection. Amorim's strategy is simple and absolute. I don't read it. I'm not faking it. I don't read it. I protect myself. This was what Amorim said. He explained that while such abuse is now normal in any profession where you are so exposed to his way of being healthy, is to build... Why you're so exposed, his way of being healthy is to build a firewall. That's what he says, a firewall. He won't watch television when they are talking about Manchester United, not because he disagrees. Often he agrees. That's what he said with the analysis, but because his feeling as a coach is enough. He doesn't need any other feelings about the games around the club. Now, the protection extends to his personal life, a choice he made consciously at a financial cost. He admitted he loses money in sponsors on platforms like Instagram, but for him, the choice is clear. The quality of life, the protection of my family, and the way I can live a normal life. It's not worth it. Some more dollars or pounds is not worth it. His closing point on the matter was very powerful. No one can be tougher than me when we lose and when we don't play well. The belief is his shield, allowing him to focus on the process without debilitating noise. That's the word. So, moving away from debilitating noises, I'm moving to squad fitness and the fitness around the team, as well as the return of Matheus Cunha. Amorim provided updates that were a mixed bag. The immediate good news is the return of forward Matheus Cunha, who is fit to face West Ham, who is fit for the West Ham clash. Also, however, the key players like obviously Harry Maguire and Benjamin Sesko remain unavailable. Furthermore, the manager also indicated that there are two doubts in the squad whose names he strategically withheld to prevent giving West Ham any tactical advantage in their preparation. On Cunha, the manager offered interesting insights into the player's early struggles. He's dealing with the pressure of a big club, but Amorim noted that Cunha was thinking too much about the numbers rather than his overall impact. He was saying that Cunha was worried about not scoring, and that's where he had the pressure. Then you have to also think about the manager emphasizing on Cunha's massive influence on the team. Questions I was asked of him was there a next level for Matheus Cunha, regardless of his goal tally, and whether there are high expectations for the club for his future development. And Cunha says, and with response to that question, Amorim says that Cunha has so much to grow defensively and offensively, and that there are so many levels for him to achieve. This signals that Amorim sees a higher ceiling for the Brazilian, provided he can fully integrate a higher ceiling for the Brazilian, provided he can integrate the manager's demands for a complete attacking and defensive contribution. So that is pretty much what Rúben Amorim said about Matheus Cunha, which takes us to the next aspect of the questions that were asked with regards to the culture of care, and that is with Yoro and Mount. I think the question was asked around that, and he talked about the Leny Yoro incident at Selhurst Park, and it became a first window into the culture Amorim is trying to build, when Yoro came off looking visibly upset after his mistake. Albeit he was there when we scored the equalizer, but he came off as well. So he was overthinking it, and Mr. Mount was there to immediately comfort him when the game was done. Amorim confirmed that the squad's closeness is really important. He explained the young defender's reaction. He thinks too much, he makes the mistakes in the game, and then he struggles because he's too young and he wants to do everything so well. And he talked about the fact that he did this because he cares. I mean, Yoro is currently going through an inevitable setback that comes with professional football, right? The manager made it clear that while Yoro has to learn not to show his frustration too openly, he cannot give that to the people. The frustration itself is a positive sign. That's what Rúben Amorim says, and he says it shows that he cares. This is a managerial masterclass in action, addressing the mistakes while simultaneously protecting the player and fostering the supportive environment necessary for a 20-year-old to thrive. The message is that the veterans have your back. And the truth is, to hear this from Rúben Amorim, to hear that he also said that he spoke to Yoro after the match, then it goes to show that Manchester United is building a culture of players that are together with each other. And then with regards to preparations for the future, he was asked questions with regards to Shea Lacey. The conversation then turned to the next generation, specifically a young prospect, Shea Lacey, who is on the cusp of the first team, who is rumored to be getting closer to first team debut. The question was about how to prepare a teenager for the crushing spotlight that comes with playing for Manchester United. And Amorim's preparation method is twofold: mental and physical. First, the mental aspect, trying to explain every day how to play, because obviously, if you are comfortable, you have not many doubts when you are playing. That will help the kids to play. It's about instilling confidence through knowledge of the system. Then you also have to think about the physical gap, and I said this several times, that there's a gap in physicality, there's a gap and then there's a disparity in the levels when it comes to how players play, and when it comes to the younger ones to the first team, right? The physical gap, Rúben Amorim emphasized that there's a need for training with the first team to understand that the speed of the pressure, right, the moment you to have the ball, to press, to pass the ball, is completely different when compared to the under 21 level, right? Then for the manager, this integration is the only way to prepare a kid to play for this club. He concluded with a hopeful promise for the fan base. Lacey is ready to play, even if he cannot say exactly when the debut will be. be, right? And then obviously to finally wrap the end of the press conference, the focus now shifted on Dalot and West Ham, right? The focus shifted on the tactical deep dive with regards to Dalot. Shifted to the upcoming opponent, because I try to understand. Basically, it's a press conference for the West Ham game, right? And all the questions they keep asking him are questions around players, last game, things like, oh, protect the young ones. Nobody's talking about the West Ham game. Maybe because this is part one of the presser, but the focus shifted on the upcoming opponent. Finally, West Ham, now managed by Nuno Espírito Santo, and the role of key defender Diogo Dalot. Amorim was full of praise for Dalot, highlighting his versatility, right? The ability to play on both sides, and his strengths on set pieces, which the manager called, really important in the Premier League. And Dalot is seen as the key international player whose ability to change position during the game is a massive tactical plus. However, consistency remains the issue for Dalot, as it is for the entire squad. I think when you see a very good game for Diogo, he can show that he has the quality, and sometimes it drops a little bit. But if you look at our team, everyone is a little bit like that. So that's pretty much with regards to Dalot. Regarding the West Ham game, Amorim had no doubt that Nuno Espírito Santo would succeed due to his vast experience, deep understanding of the league, and he knows that the former Wolves manager is really smart, right? Preparing the games, and understands the environment of the game. Now, the manager's focus for the match, correcting the issues that plagued the start of the Palace game, is what he said with regards to that. He says, I'm really focused on what we need to do, what we need to improve, especially if you look at our first half against Crystal Palace. Now, to wrap all this whole press conference up and all of that, the press conference revealed a coach who is highly analytical, not just of tactics, but of psychology required to manage Manchester United. He built a firewall against external negativity, prioritized the protection and development of young players, especially his young core, and clearly defined the next step for players like Cunha and Dalot. Basically, the return to Old Trafford against West Ham is a test of consistency and confidence. Can Man United carry the momentum and intensity from the second half of Selhurst Park into the opening whistle at home? And that is the key question here we're going to ask. Because if you look at it, Man United need to take advantage of the opportunities right in front of us right now. Chelsea losing, Liverpool drawing again. Crystal Palace have just won 1-0. So it'll be very interesting. Aston Villa 2-1 came from 2-0 down, and they won 5-3. So it will be very interesting to see how games pan out and all of that. Man United need to basically take advantage of the opportunities that have been presented to us, right? Because we cannot slack in this one. Chelsea lost 3-1 away. Nottingham Forest won 1-0 away. Crystal Palace won 1-0 away. Aston Villa won 4-3 away, and then Arsenal won 2-0 at home. So we need to win. We need to take full advantage of the opportunities right in front of us. So let me know your feelings in the comment section. What do you think about the first part of Rúben Amorim's press conference, and what the plans are for the game against West Ham? I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.